But our first project itself was a very complicated project where a lift which was a Korean lift, came to India, and there was no proper ventilation system for that, because in Korea you have the whole lift chutes are air conditioned. In our scenario, it's not. And this company had come and then he said, this is the problem what we're facing right now. So how to drive air within when it is climbing 30 floors, 20 floors, and people should not feel it's a nice thing. I mean, psychology side of design, which is like my favorite subject. I never trained for it.
This is Audio Gyan, and I am your host Kedar Nimkar. Welcome to a deep dive into the minds of luminaries from the Indian creative world. The first is actually more of a meta question, that who, according to you, is an industrial design, right? And I've been watching some of your interviews and also some of the articles, and you mentioned that it's a very wide canvas. It has got sub-disciplines, it has got engineering, it has got tech. But if you have to summarize, what's the core of being an industrial designer? And yeah, we can start there and see where it goes.
So I also feel looking at things today, I think so. Designer actually should be able to put himself in anybody's shoes to see what can I mean, there's no perfect solution, but you should have ability to move out of your comfort zone and look at, okay, how can I solve this problem? So once upon a time, rather, we also felt that if you are not able to do engineering and if you don't understand how things are going to be made, it's a problem, because end result matters the most. Okay, so somebody hiring you or somebody, even if you want to do something, if you're not able to put four things together or two things together, your outcome is not seen. So a designer actually should be able to investigate a problem in a certain way and possibly look at different solutions what you can offer, and should be able to suggest or give a very, very wise opinion about why is he suggesting this way of working. So when you look at so today, if you look at things, I could be using technology in a very different way. So if I look at engineering technology like that, electronics per se, or look at robotics, or look at anything which will help you to, because it is associated with design, is associated with profit. You make anything for everybody and he has to make profits out of it. So that's how the journey is. So today you should not be getting stuck, I would say, with whatever you have learned or over the years, whatever you have practiced. You should have that ability to change, willingness to change and get up and see what you can actually learn new things, or at least find something which can help you to resolve an issue, so the domain has become very vast now. So
Got it. And in terms of in terms of technical skills, where it would be like, I mean, is there a certain acumen which is required, or like म्हणजे कसं कळेल की बस म्हणजे मी इंडस्ट्रियल डिझायनर होऊ शकतो? Are there like some traits? Karan, at a very broad level, designer, we can safely say that if those who have tinkering mindset, or as you mentioned, ki problem solving attitude asel, then you can get it. But when it comes to specifically, say, for industrial design, are there any traits which can be spotted early on or can be trained?
काही गोष्टी इनहेरेंट असतात. You see them as a it's a signaling thing for you, I would say. Like curiosity drives most of the time. Okay, so if you have an ability to even question simplest of the things, saying that how does this work, or हा एक प्रॉब्लेम आहे पण मी काहीतरी याला करून सॉल्व्ह करू शकतो, किंवा याच्यात काय आहे, व्हॉट इज देअर इनसाइड, इज अ व्हेरी बिग ट्रिगर. It is just not opening things and looking at things. It's actually putting it back also. So कोणाला तरी जसं when I look at robotic arms today, how the articulation happens, like how does it look at doing things in a certain way. It's an amazing to see how robots get programmed possibly to work better than our own hands. But who's doing it? You yourself are doing it. So how do you program it also correctly? You should have that you should have that ability to say, okay, oh, it was coded like this, and that's why it works so efficiently. So also your ability to काय म्हणतात त्याला, have a rational thinking why this is better, and keep yourself away why this is better, why this works better for like that. So ती कला लोकांमध्ये असते, फक्त ते आय थिंक सो इट हॅज टू कम आउट इन अ सर्टन वे. सो जिज्ञासा ज्याला आपण म्हणतो किंवा विलिंगनेस टू, it's amazing to see how imagination works. Okay. You should be some associate this can happen. Your ability is there to actually visualize how the film can end or what can happen with the character.
So, Chandrasekhar, I wanted to ask, like, actually more of a fundamental question, that who, according to you, is a industrial designer, right? I mean, the canvas is quite wide, and as mentioned, तुम्ही दुसऱ्या इंटरव्ह्यू मध्ये पण बोललात की क्युरिओसिटी पाहिजे, त्याच्यानंतर इंजिनिअरिंग अॅक्युमेंट पाहिजे, डिझाईन तर ऑब्व्हियसली पाहिजेच. सो तुम्ही ब्रॉडली सांगू शकाल की who, according to you, is an industrial designer, आणि what could be the core competency expected?
See, when I look at being an industrial designer, like, you should have a ability to even go into somebody else's thing. So when I look at certain things to be manufactured or to be made, or you can't just say that I'm gonna just do the design part of it, or rather how it looks or whatever, but eventually you should be able to facilitate how to make it. Okay, so just imagine like a shoe designer, he better knows what is fit, what is comfort for feet, because all the time you're on your feet. So otherwise you are just a graphic designer doing the thing. So like that, a furniture designer for that matter should be able to put things together. When I look at early works of architects when they started doing furniture during post World War era, looking at simple processes, making the S-type chair or whatever, they understood as to what are the limitations. Within that limitation, what can come out and which can give comfort might not be 100%. So a designer should be able to look at every aspect of it. He might not understand everything, but at least the ability to look at them and say, okay, there is a possibility that we can solve this, or there is at least as an observation saying that this is the problem which stays over there, and you should have a point of view. So these things matter because it's not a static world. Or it's a very dynamic world. So your everyday new materials have coming in, everyday new processes come in, and cost to manufacture comes in. So you can't be saying that, okay, like, so every time a thing has to be manufactured, you will have to look at the soft side of it, or the serious side of it, or the finance side of it, for whom you're producing. So they are many. So, and you are just a cog in a wheel. So you should be able to play that role. You should be able to move around and see, okay, what is the solution we can give, and how good it can be, because there's no perfect solution. So
and since you are keen in education also, if you want to take at a very macro level, एक designer मध्ये काय trait पाहिजेत generally?
Actually, questioning ability is the most important thing. असं का आहे, असंच का आहे, like, that actually triggers a lot. So brain should be, you're triggering in the brain all the time. When you look at a maths teacher, like, he will try to tell you ये problem है, ये इसका answer है, but he will find 3 or 4 ways to get you an answer, and you'll say, how is that possible? So curiosity and subsequently deep diving ability of a person, it's an ongoing process. Once you realize that, okay, you are able to do it, you actually start enjoying that marathon, so then you get into the flow. So एक खूप गरज है, I mean, as a designer, I think so. I mean, that is my personal experience, and I think so.
No, very very true. कारण रिसेंटली मी पण जनरली इंटरव्ह्यू क्वेश्चन्स मध्ये विचारतो ना, व्हॉट इज डिझाईन, आणि ऑब्व्हियसली वेगवेगळे मुलं वेगवेगळ्या मुली उत्तर वेगवेगळे देतात, पण आय वॉज ट्राईंग टू आन्सर दिस फॉर माय सेल्फ आफ्टर अ व्हेरी लॉंग टाइम, आणि कोइन्सिडेंटली मी पण त्याच आन्सरवर आलो की I think the biggest skill would be just to question, right? Like, why are
mm,
things the way they are? And somehow, obviously, me, Jonathan, I've say interview पण काही दिवसांपूर्वी परत ऐकला,
mm,
फोकस स्टीव्ह जॉब्स बद्दल बोलत असताना,
mm,
तर it all connects, it
yeah.
completely resonates with what you're saying.
Mm,
Uh, um, like like the industrial design world, if you can just give some context, की how has it evolved in India? आणि तुम्ही नक्कीच काही मोठे माइलस्टोन्स किंवा काही ट्रान्झिशन्स बघितले असतील, बी इट न्यू मटेरियल्स or be it new processes or be it automation or whatever. And then like how did any key project in futuring that has given you that confidence that yes, we are adaptable, and as you say that you are more of a empathetic and a dynamic strategic process. So if you can talk a little bit about the landscape of industrial design in India, and
mm,
what are the key moments that you have observed in your career?
mm. Yeah, this is our 22nd year. Okay,
Wow.
so lovely journey, I would say. We were able to do things which we felt we should be doing. थोडं लेट झालं असेल म्हणायला हरकत नाही, पण when we started, it was like, people would look at only design as just as an aesthetic, you would say. Okay. But we took into ourselves saying that the way we are built, me and Shantanu, when we established this company, was that if you are not able to deliver what I told you just before that also, so kasa banonar finally. Yeah, and people are coming to us for that. So that is the area where we started focusing heavily on. So milestone wise, if you look at uh, making things realizable for people. So if I'm suggesting your design, how will it work? So I should be able to demonstrate uh, the whole functioning of it. Demonstrate wise that even if I say if the form is soft and it will actually appeal to people, and this is what people are looking for. You should be able to demonstrate saying that what is the visual quality of a product. So introduction of newer materials where we spend a lot of time. Also uh, how white is a good white is a question mark. To even to analyze, okay, what are people's visual comforts as to what is the aesthetics to them. uh, it's a very wide country on top of it. Everywhere we can't be generic about like that. So key sensitivity even to develop uh, has been a very big journey for us when we design for India, I mean, or for the world. India is a country of countries like that, but it's a very large mass. And then if you're doing for the global products, what we have done some time back, uh, it's a very thing, because then you are doing it for everybody. Every condition it should work efficiently, and every stakeholder should be happy, or at least should be the time he's part of that product or like that. It should work efficiently. So we also believe in something which right in the inception of the company we started propagating is when we say a well-designed product, we also started saying that it has to be well manufactured. So we started pushing, saying that if any product you make at any price, if it is not manufactured correctly, or the fit feel finish is not good, then you actually are not delivering a quality to a person. So it matters a lot. So for us, examples have been Toyota. We study how they put things together. There's so many organizations like JCB, like very large companies which have put processes in place so that products run for life. Like, it can get passed on to next generation and stuff like that. Because you're also socially responsible. So there's another thing what we have inculcated is we're very sensitive about why a material has to be used, what's the purpose behind it, and eventually where it will land, it will end up with. Uh, you have to be sensitive, otherwise you will just do it for uh, the aesthetic purpose of it, or there will not be a rational thinking behind it. So like that, we have been so we started manufacturing also. So we have a setup to produce things and initially support our customers, saying that this is how the product is going to come. Anything we design is assembled by us. So we also engineer it, prototype it, we assemble it. We know exactly how much time it will take to put the product together. So these are the sides which are normally not associated with design directly, but this is how we have built ourselves. Products over the years have been very, very interesting. I mean, when we started, people would definitely come for simple projects to be done. But our first project itself was a very complicated project where a lift which was a Korean lift, came to India, and there was no proper ventilation system for that, because in Korea you have the whole lift chutes are air conditioned. In our scenario, it's not. And this company had come and then he said, this is the problem what we're facing right now. So how to drive air within when it is climbing 30 floors, 20 floors, and people should not feel claustrophobic. So it became like a technical. So people started reaching out to us in terms of technically complex projects. I mean, this is a very interesting word, but actually design deals with this on a daily basis. So, but yeah, from there to a few years back, there was a product which we designed for the global market. It's a $1 billion company called as Gilbarco. In fact, you're in Singapore. It's possible that you might be able to see a product next year over there. So we designed next age foiling systems for the world market. That means we have to know if it is going to be used in Pakistan, it is going to be used in Iran, Saudi Arabian countries, then down Southeast Asia, US, Europe. So it's a global product. So you don't design products for one specific region. Maybe the UX will change, but everything like that. Extremely complex. And after a huge shortlisting, they said that we would like to work with you. It was quite a milestone to design for the world market. So, and we also understood. So we have implemented a lot of processes over the years. We follow lean, we follow agile. We were the first one possibly to implement agile within our office, agile for design. We also looked at, so empathy also is driven by a certain process. Even research methodology is also with a certain process. It's our own proprietary process now where we actually are able to investigate and put it together. We had never thought like we will be getting into such nitty-gritties of design and like that. So cost of manufacture is another big area where clients love what we do. Is when we present something, we know exactly what is the range in which it will get manufactured. So maybe it's time, maybe it's money, but we can confidently say, okay, this will be the price point for the product to be manufactured when it comes out of the factory. That's like being responsible to say that, okay, I'm part of your system to produce a better product. So that builds a lot of confidence. So I think so. Companies love what we do, and that gives a lot of confidence to keep learning new things and proposing new things, because it's such a diverse world. One project might give us some learnings which gets passed on to somebody else, and that's the reason why they're coming to us to like that. It's been interesting thing. 2 years back, we started doing behavioral research, very niche area where you are able to possibly map empathy, or at least be able to find out what the problems lie, if not the solution. So it's a nice thing. I mean, psychology side of design, which is like my favorite subject, but I never trained for it. But when you work with people who are actually in that domain, it's just a superb area to actually spend time in, because as I said, if you're able to be with a situation or be with a problem for a while, you actually understand the problem in a better way. You might not have a solution, but at least you've understood the problem, like, so it's a nice, you're not rushing to solve it. So that's the thing.
या सो फॅसिनेटिंग. कारण तुम्ही जो पहिला प्रश्नाचं उत्तर दिलं त्याच्यामध्ये आय थिंक इट कम्स व्हेरी नॅचरली अँड एवढं इम्प्लिसिट आहे की आपण विसरून जातो. पण द मोस्ट फंडामेंटल थिंग विच यू स्पोक राईट नाव अबाउट इज केअर, राईट? लाईक द एम्पॅथी. इट कम्स अक्रॉस एज अ क्लिशे वर्ड, बट डिझाईनमध्ये सगळ्यात इट्स अ मोस्ट फंडामेंटल थिंग. या. And I wanted to take one question little off script, because you said about process. Do you feel a little constrained because of process? Because it typically lands up, right? Like process असलं की मग, like generally as a designer, you're a little impatient also to get out or to reach to a solution. But when you follow those processes, it's more methodical, and then like त्याच्यात जे ते क्रिएटिव्हिटी किंवा सेरेंडिपिटीचा जो फॉर्मॅट असतो, that do you think it how has your observation with being a process driven as opposed to a more organic way?
You see, the processes are important. Uh, Processes are important to bring a lot of people on the same table. Okay,
Hmm.
a lot of systems we have implemented. It is actually to facilitate creativity, because what you should be able to not spend time on certain areas where you will might just lose track. So if you're able to put certain things in a certain order, and then you require some time to design possibly or do something else, you should not feel that I don't have enough time. So over there, it helps, I would say. But there is a and it's not a hard and fast thing, because all projects are different. I can't put the same what do you call it, system, or same way of solving a problem, or looking at design as a process for almost all projects. I can't do that, because if I'm looking at a healthcare project, and if I'm looking at a fitness project, it's completely different. uh, but the process also allows you to immerse yourself in that. So that is what I want. That is what people in futuring also wants, that they should get immersed in the project and not look at it at a superficial level. So असं नाही म्हणता येणार की आपण बांधला जातो, पण काही गोष्टी आपल्याला वाहून जाऊ देत नाही असं म्हणायला हरकत नाही. तर यू शुड नॉट गेट बाउंड बाय देम, बट यू शुड बाउंड्रीज सेट करता यायला पाहिजे, की आपण नाही तर आपण वाहून जातो एका सोल्युशन करायला बघायला गेलं की आपण लिटरली, बिकॉज इट्स एंडलेस. डिझायनर्स आहेत ना ते, एकदम आपण आपल्याला बेस्ट सोल्युशन पाहिजे असतं, आणि वी वॉन्ट टू लाईक दॅट, पण ते कदाचित पॉसिबल नाही आहे दरवेळेस. अँड यू आर टाइम बाउंड ऑल्सो. तर समजा तू आपण नाही केलं ते, देन यू आर अकाउंटेबल फॉर टू रोल आउट समथिंग ॲट अ सर्टन टाइम. तर त्या बाबतीत इट वर्क्स. काही मेथड्स आहेत, जसे फायनान्शियल इन्स्टिट्यूशन्स वापरतात, किंवा ते वापरतात, लाईक स्टँडअप्स आहे, एजाईल आहे. It is like almost bringing everybody to the same table in the morning. You know what your tasks are to be done, and then it's completely up to you as to when you're supposed to submit. So there is a rationale behind as to if you're asking time, why you asking time, and if you're not able to finish, there's a thinking behind it. So, and it also helps for to others to learn, so that the same mistakes don't get repeated again. Otherwise, it's a problem, right? ती चुका आपण परत परत करत बसणार.
Correct, correct.
ते काय बरोबर
Yeah,
नाहीये.
yeah.
सो समथिंग लाईक
सुंदर.
दॅट. मजा यायला
सुंदर,
पाहिजे.
सुंदर.
सी व्हेन यू वर्क डिझाईन करताना किंवा काही करताना आनंद व्हायला पाहिजे. फायनली ऍट द एंड ऑफ द डे यू शुड बी हॅपी, की
Correct,
आज
correct.
काहीतरी छान निघालंय असं. सो
या व्हेरी ट्रू. मला आता त्या डिझायनरचं नाव आठवत नाही, पण कोट आठवतोय की वेन इन डाऊट फॉलो अ प्रोसेस, असं काहीतरी एक वेन यू कांट डिझाईन, आय थिंक समथिंग लाईक दॅट. बट या व्हेरी ट्रू. कूल. मेक इन इंडिया आता एक these days एक वर्ड आहे, राईट? अँड या यू कॅन गो पॉलिटिकली whichever direction you want. I'm completely open. But yeah, make in India, hey, Atmanirbhar, like all these are kind of buzzwords, right? And I remember long time ago when I was interviewing Ashish Deshpande from Elephant Design, त्यांनी एक प्रपोज केलेलं की why is it not design in India as opposed to make in India. In fact, I think तरुणदीप गिरधर जे NID चे प्रोफेसर आहेत, त्यांनी पण तसंच काहीतरी बोललेलं आहे. So where are you on that? Like, what is your observation? Because especially again in the industrial design world, where we don't design chips, we don't design a bunch of fundamental materials. So it's good that we import, but where is this sort of heading? What is your observation? What is your opinion about make in India versus design in India? Like, if you can give us some peek into it.
I'm sitting in Pune. Okay, so can you imagine? On one side, I've got these 10-12 companies which are Swedish companies. Okay, from Atlas Copco to name it. All these guys who are there last 60 years, 65 years, they have been in India, and they have been making out of India, designing out of India. So I think so. It's a lovely initiative. I think so. We are making it. It just gives us enough motivation to say that we can. Somebody has to charge us up, right? So it's a nice way. Are we able to make it? Are we able to do that? I think the both are relevant because what I've realized one thing is the way we look at things. Like every other country, people will have their own thing. We have a very different way of looking at things, and that's why many times we find ourselves at very interesting places around the world at very different positions. So that is what makes us so unique. So design in India, 100%. Like what we did for Gilbarco, or we did for some other international clients. So it's they never looked at saying that I want to be a designer in India. They said they were looking for talent pool around the world as to who can look at these things in a very open way. So I think so that is what brings us. We are very open to analyzing a situation. We are very open to looking at problems. We don't come with baggage many times. Our ability to understand and process is very good. So if we are able to do that, manufacturing of certain areas, yes, we are able to do, but a lot of areas, I don't think so. We will be able to do it, but I don't see it's a problem. आपण जसं म्हणतो world is the whole thing. So we should be able to see where we are able to get good things, and we should be at least able to put it together and make because not necessary that we are making all the machineries to put things together in India. We might be getting those machines from like if you go by the watches, like we know that the world's best watches machineries are made by one country like that. So but the idea to roll it out of this country, possibly make this as a manufacturing hub, I think so it's possible, and we are doing it pretty good. It's just that every other sector should look at it also. So if you look at cars, there is a dedicated plant where it's only meant for exports. Hyundai exports out of India all the cars, so it is manufactured here. The team here also designs for the world market like that. आपल्याला ते आपल्याला करता येतं ते, असं नाही की नाही, पण असं इट्स नॉट ऑल दॅट इझी टू से की ओके आय कॅन डू इट टुमॉरो. इट्स अ लवली सीड टू काय म्हणतात ते, आपण आता एक रोप लावायला प्रयत्न करतोय, पण त्या सगळ्या सेक्टरला झालं किंवा काही सेक्टर लागला, स्पेशली हेल्थ केअर आपण म्हटलं तर वी आर नॉट एबल टू रादर नो देर आर ओनली 3 countries or 3 companies around the world who are able to do products only for that imaging ज्याला आपण म्हणतो. तर we should not get caught in that. The idea is that if you're able to do it, push yourself, push the boundaries, see where you can do what things, and सगळ्या नाही करता येणार पण सगळ्या गोष्टी. We can't do motors, we can't do chips, so, as you rightly said. So, but at least ते यायला पाहिजे की काय पाहिजे, so we can at least bring them in, put things together. So ते करता येतं.
करेक्ट. आणि या म्हणजे तुम्ही इंडियाबद्दल जी ब्युटिफुल गोष्ट सांगितली त्याच्यावरच नेक्स्ट प्रश्न असा होता फॉलोअप म्हणून की इन दिस काइंड ऑफ एरा ऑफ मास प्रोडक्शन किंवा इवन ग्लोबलायझेशन राईट लाईक यू हॅव काइंड ऑफ एज यू सेड लाईक 22 years सो इज देअर एनिथिंग कॉल्ड एज इंडियन इंडस्ट्रियल डिझाईन किंवा इंडियन इथॉस वाईल डिझायनिंग और मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग इंडियन प्रोडक्ट्स or industrial products? कारण यू नो व्हॉट आय मीन राईट, कारण काही गोष्टी असतात ना की विच ज्याच्यावर एक इंडियाची छाप असते किंवा एक इंडियाचं इथॉस. आय कांट कम अप विथ एन एक्झाम्पल राईट नाव, बट यू नो व्हॉट आय मीन राईट, लाईक देर इज द इंडियननेस टू इट, एस्पेशली आर्ट्स अँड क्राफ्ट, व्हेरी ट्रेडिशनल वे ऑफ पुटिंग थिंग्स. पण या
क्लिअर कट नाही सांगता येणार. वी कांट बी very but uniqueness is there. The way we look at things is or we come up with some thing is pretty very, you can say it is coming because the way we are. पण आहे त्या गोष्टी आहे, पण as you rightly said, you know की आर्ट मध्ये दिसतं ते, पण हाऊ वी वर्शिप. ओके, सो इफ यू लुक ॲट आपल्या टेम्पल्स बघितले, any for that matter, any place of prayer, if you look at it, if it is here versus if it's in Turkey, or it's very different. The religion ला दूर ठेवला तरी, but it's a place to offer prayers if you look at it. So Architecture-wise, if you look at it, it's got a dramatic impact. Current local stone, craftsmanship, किती जमतं, किती नाही, that is evolved over the years like that. आज आपण बघायला गेलं तर yes, some things are, if you look at it, it's very, very unique as to what has come out of this country in terms of design. So ते होत राहणार आहे, पण we have never looked at it as from that point of view. We always look at people. They are there everywhere, and product, if it's going to work for them here, it should work for them anywhere around the world in that situation or that kind of thing. तर ते असं नाही म्हणता येणार. Like if you look at cameras, I mean असं नाही म्हणतात की आपण because of this way the camera has been designed within India or something like that. असं नाही आहे. You will have to surpass your way of looking at things, but the way you have grown up, possibly you'll have a lot of new interesting stuff to contribute to, which people might just not be able to visualize because you are born here, you are contextually, you are here. So
correct. You said very nicely की आर्किटेक्चर मध्ये दिसतं, इनफॅक्ट टेक्सटाईल मध्ये पण बऱ्यापैकी दिसतं. पुण्यामध्ये आता एक मार्च टी नावाची एक सुंदर कंपनी आली आणि त्यांचे प्रोडक्ट्स ग्लोबल स्टँडर्डचेच वाटतात. त्यांचा पण ऑडिओ ज्ञान घेतलेलं मी. पण any industrial product which is, I mean, yes, there are a lot of industrial products, right from parachute ची बाटली पासून ते भरपूर like, पण I believe Futuring has designed water purifier also, if I'm not wrong, or certain Godrej products also. So do you have that Indianness consciously embedded, or it comes naturally because we are designing for Indian people?
So for Godrej, I think so we have been associated with them since 2014. Okay, so be there refrigerators, washing machines, and in fact did some phenomenal projects with them. But there are so some places we actually have gone little you can say more than what we're supposed to do. Like, we felt that dimension of the refrigerators are not as per our need. So at some places we actually have proposed that there should be a new dimension for refrigerators or washing machines, because everything we look at it, or how designers look at it, is inside out always. So if you know that you're going to keep so many things inside, and you know how you use the refrigerators on a daily basis, we despite of so much of things, we still love to eat fresh vegetables. So how they are kept, the behavior drives a lot of things. So when we started looking at them, I think so it took 5-6 years to actually evaluate, and we proposed saying that this could be a lovely form factor. This should be the right form factor for us, for our refrigerators. And Godrej being an Indian company, they are ingrained in what they do here. So it's a fantastic thing to question and say that why can't we have a newer dimension to an appliance which we are going to use on a daily basis. So it was a fantastic way we had done, because it was not like a forced idea, but we also studied how refrigerators are there in Japan. We know very clearly, because their standardization is so different, packed volumes, in terms of their packaging, in terms of what the food you buy. So it's built around that, and tightness of the space. In our situation, every day is a different day. The types of milk we use, the containers, the vegetable varieties, like there is no tomorrow. So we wanted to see if a 7-day activity for refrigerators, there are 15 days of food you have to keep, how it will happen. So that comes out. In fact, we have done some inhalers also for asthma. It's a big thing in India. Asthmatic patients are there. I think every 10th person is asthmatic here. So, or if it's not there, it will happen. Or diabetic people, like, so we worked on project where you have to take an insulin. So the way the injections were designed were because of how we react to an injection in this country. Inhaler also, the way asthmatic patients should take. We change the dynamics of as to how we're going to pump in, so that it's convenient for people to do it immediately. Back when the kadla and blindly, you should be able to do it like that. So you know that design is actually very unique in terms of, but I can't say it's very Indian per se, because it's a very large thing. But the way we use things and the way we react to a few things or an action, that drives the thing. And you better do it that way. I think that otherwise it will not be used properly. So
Yeah. No, you brought in a very interesting point की इंडियननेस नाही आहे पण युजर सेंट्रिक आहे किंवा कल्चरली काय होतंय याचं ऑब्झर्व करून करता येईल. सो like industrial products are generally like one of the definition is anything which is mass produced, right? So do you see like म्हणजे हा माझा एक पर्सनल सॉर्ट ऑफ द्वंद्व चालू आहे डोक्यात की can like things built at scale be really of high quality and also a bit of personalized कारण तुम्ही मग सगळ्यांना सेम ऑलमोस्ट सेम बनवतात राईट which means that you are not addressing certain set of people. So what's the process like, right? Like how do you ensure quality also, and then how do you make those compromises or trade-offs for say like a different set of people because you're designing for someone?
See, mass production it's a very lovely evolutionary process. Earlier, we used to see change every 10 years, either in material process or something like that. Today, if we see those changes every 5 years or 4 years. So you are always on the go to say, how can I make this effectively? Price consciousness is always there around the world. It has got, you can't say that, okay, it's only in the countries where it's a growing economy. Everywhere, every person is a price conscious because finally it's money, right? So you have to be very, very sensitive towards that. Quality matters on many things. Like if I look at a thing to be produced in China, or if I look at a thing to be produced in India, Brazil, more or less, you know that I have manpower available to you to manufacture. It also brings livelihood. It also brings business. It also brings health and well-being. It also eradicates poverty. Or you can say that there's an effort for people to get a job or something to do on a daily basis, so that like that. The moment I ship the product somewhere else, like suppose I say I want to produce in Sweden, or where you actually have a very less manpower, you can't design. You have to see to it that the product gets assembled by one person, possibly where you require 3 people to assemble. So he changes ahead, but it cost imperative ahead. So if I have to put a product which is completely snap fitted, it costs you more money, but a person can assemble one person. But here I say, okay, do you really want to spend that kind of money? Because finally, it will matter to the price of the product. So IKEA, for that matter, is a very good example about why it was designed in a certain way. Even today, where a person can assemble, because you don't have labor to put it together, and shipping costs are very high. So like these, you actually have to innovate even on manufacturing process. So right now we have, I don't know if you are aware of it, we invented one chai maker. It's the world's first chai maker. Okay, so it makes chai the way we like it, like this, with actual milk, actual tea, actual water boiled, and you can add wet ingredients, dry ingredients. Depends on your taste. You can do all that. Putting that thing together to get a quality in terms of an outcome, saying that I really want to have a nice cup of tea, I cannot use plastics, so I have to use some portions have to be in metal. So what are the techniques to make simple filtration thing if I have to make chai? So these are laser etched sieves. Now that process 5-7 years back, somebody was using it for very, very fine parts, but today I'm using that for making an appliance, which is unheard of. So why that process is being now? Because it's cheaper to make. 5 years back it was expensive. Not everybody could afford that process. Today I can spend a little more money over there and actually make a product which is right, functional for 10 years. You should not have a problem with the product like that. So which process to use, how to use, where to use, at what cost is completely an everyday thing. So the more you understand it, the more smarter you are in suggesting, saying that this might work for you. So, but mass manufactured is phenomenal. I mean, if you look at at speed, what they are making aircrafts right now, it will blow your mind. The number of Airbus orders are there right now. The fighter aircraft are getting made. The ships, the way they are getting made. Number of satellites we are making right now. Look at the rockets, what are being fired on a daily basis. small, medium. I'm not even talking about small aircrafts. I'm talking about this. And if you look at only the small yachts which are getting made right now, or boats for fishing, trawlers, and all that scale is like, and every day, every product which is rolled out next year, you'll find it far more superior than the previous year, and far more cost effective than the previous year. So it's a you'll have to up the game. So, and
Hmm.
affordability, because it's meant for masses, it's meant for people. So this,
Yeah. Crazy,
the more,
crazy.
yeah, I look at televisions. When the moment they become flat panels, uh, the whole dynamics changed. Like, where all you could use it. So, and they are so well made nowadays. So when you say, when we look at manufacturing, and when I talk to you about well made, what it also means is that every stakeholder, including the last person, possibly the service guy who will attend that machine after 3 years in case of some problems there, or some nitty-gritties are committed. Even for some as a maintenance, it's an unskilled labor or a simple trained person who will just go there, and he's taught a sequence of operations saying that you have to remove 4 screws, take this part out, this how you'll check. So it becomes very easy. So I don't know how many times you have opened a Dell laptop. Okay, it's amazing to see how they have put the thought together. It's a modular construction. It's a Lego block. There's another company in the laptop sphere. I was reading about them, where they have allowed you to upgrade anything you want. Like, you want to upgrade a RAM, you just buy another dock and put it together. You want to change the screen, remote. It's just fantastic to see how people are thinking today, and every part is a piece of art. So you have to, when you look at design also, when you make certain things, when you put them together, they're lying in front of you like 10, 15 pieces. Each piece has to be really like a piece of art, or well designed. Then you can see all of them coming together, and just like the joy of not having a rattling sound coming out of any product is like it's wonder, like.
सगळं 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 लेगो ब्लॉक सारखं करून टाकलंय है ना.
इतकी गोष्टी बदलल्या, फॅब्रिक्स बदलले, एकॉस्टिक्स बदललं, क्लॅरिटी ऑफ साऊंड इज व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. एनिथिंग व्हॉट यू डू, लाईक त्याच्यात ते करायलाच पाहिजे ते.
विथ ऑडिओ ज्ञान ना ऍक्च्युली एव्हरी कॉन्व्हर्सेशन मेक्स मी फील की यार खूप खूप काम आहे डिझाईन मध्ये. आणि इन माय फील्ड I can say a little bit of scratching the surface is done, but baki it's just madness. Like it's so fascinating, amazing. And then, like in the first part of my macro set of questions, I wanted to conclude by asking, like, hey, overall, मग consumerism जे आहे की आता at the scale at which you mentioned की एवढं पटापट सगळं बनत चाललंय. Maybe you can give your example at futuring or generally your observations. Ki then how are we ensuring kind of say sustainability, or are there any ethical dimensions to like producing industrial work?
See, challenge आहे.
Hmm.
Challenge has always been there. Okay, how sustainability एक मोठा क्वेश्चन आहे की what exactly does it mean? Okay, because it's a very wide thing, like extremely wide, and it's a behavior thing also. I mean, what can you do from your side first to address that sustainability? uh, when we were growing up, लहानपणी आपल्याला आई वडील म्हणायचे की पंखा बंद कर, वीज वाया जाते, किंवा लाईटची खरंच गरज आहे का तुला, लाईट बंद कर, like that, because power was expensive, the sources what we're using were expensive. Today we are using LED, so lux level, so instead of a 100-watt bulb we are using a 7-watt or a 5-watt bulb. It's superb thing. So we don't want to waste energy in any form. So if you go by even smallest of the example of saying, suppose I want to use oil to lubricate chain. Okay, you just require adequate to lubricate the chain, right? So it functions. You're putting excess oil or less oil, it is not do it. So you should know how much it is, like that. Similarly, sustainability also talks about as well. So industrial design per se, when it became like when Bauhaus started and Ulm started and all that. It's in the whole ingrained teaching method as to why would you use so much of material. So if I'm going to use something, you should have a rationale behind it. You should have a sensitivity towards it. Uh, how effectively you can do it, and should have ability to change your design in case it's not possible using that material. That's also sustainable for me, because otherwise you're getting like, no, I want this shape or I want this like this because it looks beautiful. I mean, that just can't be the talk about it, right? Because it's very personal and it's very uh, it's not a generic thing as an overview. So sustainability will also talk about how much of water are you going to process. Uh, when you talk about large things to be made in large volumes,
Hmm.
we should know that if that waste is going to be generated, where is it going? Okay, so when I look at a material also, when I say ABS is being used, we have a knowledge about, as designers, you should have knowledge about saying that I can break it down. How much of it can go for recycling? And uh, actually, you should start loving that whole journey about recycled plastics or anything. Cut down on landfills. How much do you really want to use copper wires for like that? Because copper is also getting extracted. So, but can we say that copper is not a natural material? It is a natural material. So we doing anything and everything is actually hurting the earth. So
Hmm.
if I say that I have to be 100% sustainable, it's not possible. What
Hmm.
I firmly believe is be sensitive towards it and question at least 3 or 4 times more times, saying that do I really need it, and do I really want. So when you suppose, do I really require an extra screw? Is also sustainable for me, because you
Hmm.
have extracted so much of things to make one screw, and you just can't be like, okay, I want to put two screws over there. You can't do that. So it's important that we are able to do that. Also
Got it.
look at new age materials, like suppose you're getting mixing of two materials happening. Yeah. What is the outcome coming out, and can I use it for something else? uh, it's a good thought. You might require larger thicknesses or something like that, but it's a good thought saying that you are actually not, you're cutting down on the consumption of certain material, because it's a challenge. Look at the amount of waste what we're generating right now.
Yeah.
The biggest worry right now is also the food waste what we're generating. What is happening to that? I mean, are we able to convert it into manure
Biogas.
effectively?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very true and very pragmatic way to look at these things, because I think the moment we use ethical as a word, then म्हणजे आपलं मग ते
Yeah.
अध्यात्म पण येतं त्यात, की तुमचे
Mm.
इंटेन्शन काय आहे त्यांनी पण खूप सॉल्व्ह होईल.
Oh.
नॉट नेसेसरीली you have to be like pro at saving things, but generally your intention has been very pure while making it also.
Mm.
Hmm. Interesting. Cool. I want to change tracks and
Yeah.
just talk a little bit about like design as a profession for young people, right? So
Yeah.
you have like a keen interest in education as well, and
Yeah.
have been like on jury panels for design schools. So what's
Yeah.
what's happening with, like, what's your observation about the new age India, the talent gearing towards entering the workforce, say skill, gender. इनफॅक्ट मी काल एक दुसरा इंटरव्ह्यू केला. रुचिता मधोक म्हणून एक ग्राफिक डिझायनर आहेत, आणि त्या बोलल्या की NID मध्ये जवळजवळ तिच्या बॅच पासून बऱ्याच बॅच पर्यंत 60% प्रोबेबली आर विमेन. बट टेल मी एनी 5 to 10 गुड विमेन
Mm.
designers, not even graphic, just designers, not fashion, but generally
Mm.
designers above
Mm.
40. And frankly, I was like, I said, Ashwini and Sujata Keshav, अजून मला कोणी सुचलं पण
Mm.
नाही. तर
Mm.
given that as a background, like education about design and the new age kind of young Indian talent entering, how equipped are they with design sensibilities? Where are you on, like, what's your observation around it?
Mm. So can I be a little harsh on the subject, or
Please,
you want
please,
me? Yeah.
like one has to be. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I like what is so many kids wanting to do design or look at the profession in a certain way. Uh, uh, 1969, I think so. IDC and 67 is maybe an idea. From that journey to look at the number of design schools which are there right now, number of design professionals who are coming out right now. But they are very enthusiastic. I love them. Love talking to younger because they actually come up with a lot of thoughts and the because their knowledge is also very high. The way they learn is also very different nowadays. So it's amazing to interact with them. Openness about so many things. My thing coming out is when was the last time we actually changed way we taught design or imparted knowledge with respect to design. So we need to look at that aspect also because there's a disconnect right now.
What kind of disconnect? As in, like, the fundamentals are in place, but practical not, like theory, practical, which dimension when you say
See, when
yeah.
there are certain things which you have to inculcate very clearly, like craftsmanship, you have to inculcate that. Yeah. Okay, you can't shy away from workshops. You can't shy away from an artist cannot say that I just do digital art. He has to understand paint, or a person who's stitching clothes has to work with fabrics and stuff like that. So as a designer, like that, you actually should be spending more time in the making of things today and understanding as to how it has to put together. So suppose somebody is saying that, okay, I want to design a watch, you better go inside the watch first and not look at just outside like that. So and number of students are also increasing. So there is so one side is to teach them the technical side of design because industry expects you to bring that into table. If you look at today's designers' responsibility was when we started, mm, there are certain things now they over the years they would expect that you should have this knowledge along with you. So more things you should know. So I sincerely feel that they should get engaged in researches, behavioral researches, uh, because you're eventually designing for them. You should be able to do future forecasting. Whom are you designing it for? 10 years ahead of time. Simple projects like if I have to design a tool to train a child to make something, it can't be the same thing what was done 10 years back. They are far more smarter. The way they interact with digital devices like that. Also, we should not. Sometimes I wonder. I mean, I keep talking to attorneys also about it. We're still designing washing machines and refrigerators, and how different it has been 10 years back or 15 years back. So food habits have changed. So many things have changed, and design is still compartmentalized. Uh, when it started, it was very very holistic. I would say the way I was getting trained by a graphic designer, I was getting trained by anybody and everybody who were contributing to design and practicing as a designer. So somewhere, I think so. The compartmentalization should go away now, because a product designer doing UX or a UX designer doing research is the thinking pattern, right? So you should be able to impart knowledge and not teach. Seeing different facets of design, you should be able to be in a different situation, financial institution, banking. If I look at today, if I look at the number of people who are aging right now, and when they go to the bank because they are not able to use the application on the tablet or the phone as per his age. It's a complicated world. I mean, if you look at if somebody has to open up, so how are we allowing designers to actually navigate through different paths and look at design in a very very long way? Where are you able to invent material? Are you able to change manufacturing process for it like that? So there are many things which is required, and I think so. The younger generation is very interesting. So like every time I see somewhere we feel as trainers maybe we are lacking a lot of things. So maybe we should get more knowledge. Maybe we should ask them to teach us more things like that. But
Yeah, totally. I mean, you're
but
not at all harsh about it, in fact. But I know what you mean. It's that, and it's quite ironic because you are not, as in, like, as a young fresher or like just coming out of say like 2 or 3 years of experience, nobody's expecting to have specialization.
Hmm.
It's more of generalized thinking, right?
Yeah.
Which brings a lot of freedom also. Then you can like
Hmm.
become specialized later on. And the reason I'm saying ironic is because then within that generalization there are still compartments, which means it's kind of yeah, quite convoluted.
Yeah. So, like, there has to be, when you talk about women designers like that, but I also look at women users today. Okay.
Hmm.
So, women designers coming out like that. Number of we are a country which has got a lot of these young population. A lot of babies, a lot of schooling thing happening. But if you look at simple products like a two-wheeler for a mother to transport it's we have still not found a safe method to, because over there I think so there is. So can I become a transportation designer to solve that problem? Actually, no. I
Hmm.
have to be a product designer, might be able to. So why this product designer? Why this transportation designer? Why this graphic designer? Like that. You should be able to spend more time to understand what is design as a holistic thing, and then look at your avenues as to which areas you want to work with. So
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
you are then it's so possibly education has to also look at that aspects of it. I mean, if you look at the liberal side of it, and when do you want to start training them? You can't be just that regular thing about 11th and 12th and then you get into design. No, what are we doing for the eighth graders or the seventh grader? There's so much of energy and so much of creativity in them. How are you harnessing them? I mean, if you are
Hmm.
able to see PCM, if you're teaching maths, physics, and chemistry and arts as a painting like that, then why not other things which are putting things together and dismantling a few things together? Because there are some kids who are just fantastic. Like, if they are riding cycles, if they're doing skateboarding, if they're doing playing games, if they're doing that, so you'll find so much of energy, and they do some uh, interesting thing to even invent new games. If you look at
Hmm.
Decathlon's products, or gully cricket for that matter, their rules, they make their own rules, and they
Correct.
have amazing, right? So need to we have phenomenal people today to, I mean, yeah, I can go on about that thing for quite some time, like.
Correct, correct, correct. Yeah, yeah.
And I don't also. I also feel it should not be a school specific thing. Like, anybody who's getting knowledge or getting imparted about design, that's got nothing to do with where you come from.
Hmm. Hmm.
You actually should be able to. Uh, you should know what that person is actually wanting to do, and then nurture him, so that
Correct,
he
correct.
actually chooses the right path, and then he enjoys the journey of becoming a designer. So, and Natkanis also says no,
Correct,
you are all your life you're wanting to become a designer. So
correct, correct, correct. Yeah, in fact, the next one is a follow-up, very nice follow-up on that. That like at Futuring, do you people constantly actively hiring?
yeah,
So,
always.
so what do you kind of, how do you spot a talent or how do you recruit? Like, what are the, yeah, not very cliche traditional kind of rounds and stuff, but like by and large, what's the biggest हा बस याला आपण आणूया असं.
तुला आय डोंट नो, तुला माहित असेल की नाही, फ्युचरिंग मध्ये आमच्याकडे डिपार्टमेंट्स नाही आहेत.
हम्म,
ओके, आमच्याकडे फक्त टॅलेंट पूल आहे. ठीक आहे.
हम्म,
तर प्रोजेक्ट आल्यावरती वी विल सी, ओके, this project has come, so who's the right set, or what kind of team can we comprise of? Okay, तर we make a inner group, we make a group, and त्याच्यातले काही लोक, they always stay with the project till the project is launched. So the group increases and decreases. So you'll find engineering background, you will find psychology background, you will find creative engineering म्हणून आमच्या इकडे आहे, जो फक्त प्रॉब्लेम सॉल्विंग मध्ये फोकस करतात. सो द ग्रुप, इट्स अमेझिंग टू सी एज टू. असं नाही आहे की डिझायनर डिझाईन केलं आणि मग इंजिनिअरिंग कडे गेलं आणि मग असं झालं, तसं नाही आमचं. सो
हम्म.
इट्स अ व्हेरी व्हेरी so everybody is creative for us, everyone. Okay, so this is what
Nice.
we look for in people. So when they come to us, I want to see their last 2 years sketchbook first. I don't want to see the portfolio at all, because they are also getting very very uh, typecasted, you could say, or typecast. There is a way to look at it. I don't see rendering मध्ये creativity मला ते दिसत नाही की how you have done it. I don't mind you clicking 5 pictures to me and show me these are my photography assignments from yesterday. It's okay. I'm not. I just went to Shaniwar Wada and click 5 pictures of Shaniwada from different angles is also fine. What were you looking for? Is possibly you can explain or I can decipher or something like that. So it should become a communication. I expect people to sketch on a daily basis. So if you're in a design school, the last 2 years sketches or compilation of sketches should be your first interaction with us as an organization, because you should be able to pen down your ideas when there's an opportunity for you. Skills matter, and your ability to learn them. So I also say a lot of time कि 4 साल में designer अगर if you do design degree, that doesn't become a designer. Okay, so ability to be part of the team, that's another big thing. म्हणून आमच्याकडे एक छोटा internship आणि मोठी internship असते, and be able to see हा fit होतो की नाही, because apart from our requirement, we also want him to enjoy his journey to become a designer or be part of us. So it matters to us because it's a health and wealth of the whole team. So that is what we look for. But more or less, we also want people to hang around with us, at least for a few years. We can't say that there are some people who have been there for 20 years now. But if you want to be in an organization, and if you want to be you should spend some time, because that's a foundation. So that is what we look for. And I mean, that's most important part. You should be enthusiastic about design. You should love design. You should be open to ideas. You should be able to work with people. So it's a sport. It's a game where you actually have to work with everybody, and there's no hierarchy here. Okay, so everybody works together. So you should be able to get along. That's it. But otherwise, and किती serious आहे design, but that matters, sir. So,
करेक्ट. काय पर्स्पेक्टिव्ह आहे लाईफ कडे बघायचा पण एक इम्पॉर्टंट अँगल आहे. सो यू सेड की हायरार्की नाहीये, विच इज अ ग्रेट थिंग. बट देन हाऊ अँड इट्स क्वाईट टफ की दोन क्रिएटिव्ह लोक यू कॅन नेव्हर क्रिएट अ हायरार्की, लाईक बिकॉज इट्स अ व्हेरी डिफरंट डायमेन्शन ऑफ थिंकिंग ऑल टुगेदर. बट व्हॉट अकॉर्डिंग टू यू is kind of, again, if you can take futuring as an example, एक junior ते senior designer as opposed to like a principal with 12-15 years of experience, I'm sure like काहीतरी responsibilities मध्ये फरक असणारच, right? So how does that look in futuring, or whenever you have been kind of observing other institutions, other organizations, other companies, like industrial designer, मी आज fresh graduate आहे किंवा 2 वर्षाचा experience आहे, like what would you be, what would she be doing as opposed to say like a 20-year-old 20-year experience old?
so even when we get interns or somebody who's there for short duration with us, it's not an intern. Every designer actually gets an opportunity to work on the project. Suppose he's part of that project. So असं नाही की तो junior आहे म्हणून तो sketch नाही करणार किंवा he can't present his ideas or he's not. So brainstorming, everybody is participating. Very clear. Okay, because otherwise what's the point of being a team? And त्याच्यानंतर, so when you take an idea, refinement जे असते ते maturity वरती, how to translate that idea, त्याचे learnings काय असतील. So then you are part of that team to actually somebody is training you on a daily basis कि हा actually form finally कसा होईल. And then engineering team is working with you together saying कि at this price point we have to work, or this is the thinking what I have. So parting lines कशी द्यायला पाहिजे. So there's a very lovely debate saying कि मुझे ऐसा नहीं चाहिए. So the designers, engineering guys also are so sensitive saying that okay, either there's a problem or yes we can do it, so we'll to go extra mile. So it's a lovely thing, and then they learn, so असं नाही की मला फक्त आता मी हे 3-4 गोष्टी केल्या आणि त्याच्यानंतर you have to do only this because you're a junior. असं नाही आमच्याकडे. Responsibility दिल्या जाते, and there's huge amount of nurturing also. So you work with seniors, so the seniority is only because of the age. I mean असं काही नाही आहे की and we don't say it's my design or something like that. So that's another thing. So you have to stay away from this, and people like it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise you just hold on to your chest so much. It's not a good thing.
Correct, correct, correct. Yeah, but असं होतं का की say like now you obviously you are on a different level, but like a principal designer or someone like a very very senior designer within the team may not be really getting hands-on, like full hands-on kami kaam asil. So is that a natural progression for any industrial designer, or I mean, Jonathan Ive still
Ah,
plays with aluminium every day, so we have a
yeah.
different
So that
question.
no. So that is the case. You are expected to do it here also. You can't
Hmm.
shy away from saying कि अच्छा अभी मैं मटेरियल को हाथ नहीं लगाऊंगा, मैं मॉडल नहीं बनाऊंगा. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. This is not the way. You have to be there. If you are going to uh, that's what makes you designer. So that curiosity has to be there. So you are doing that. What matters when you become senior is your ability to take decisions also.
Hmm.
You should be able to teach them as to why you are. You can't be like because this looks good or this like that. There has to be a very very uh,
Articulation of like why you are taking.
articulation methodology to say okay, this could be the reason, or this is why we are proposing this, and this is how it will eventually look like. So they and those who learn faster, they also get a chance to be on the a project and in a much way. So we want them to take more responsibilities. I can't have a senior designer. So if there's a person who has become senior designer in last 10 years of his work with us, just to say okay, but I don't expect the same time to be with the juniors. I expect them to maybe half the time. So you are a better player. You learn better. So you impart knowledge in a much better way. There's a completely in our case like we whatever you're learning you're passing it on a daily
Hmm.
basis. You
Hmm.
can't say that okay I'll do a special session for this one. No. So that's why when you work together you understand okay why these screws are being used or why this form is being done like that, why the detail is coming in, and they grasp. So it's nice, it's participatory, and they also start taking ownership. So it's amazing. And then that whole thing about you holding responsibility together to deliver something which is really nice.
Correct.
uh,
Correct.
so yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of similar in my profession also. Like as you grow in a career, maybe yeah, you have to be in touch with the craft, but definitely you are kind of making more informed decisions and then defending those design
Yeah,
decisions,
yeah,
and obviously with rationality. So I think as you grow in the career, that would be a key thing to learn and
yeah.
sort of sharpen. Cool. I saw your video where you gave like advice for young designers. So I'm not going to ask that. I'm just going to plug that. But I'm
Mm.
really curious to know like what one advice you got from your mentors or somebody whom you worked very closely with, and which you still practice.
But there are so many people whom I thank every day for correcting my path. Or there's so many people, but I can cite one example for you. When so I love so I never so my obsession is with public transport, okay? Trains, and it's amazing, and that is what where I want or still want to make my. I should be able to design trains and stuff like that. Okay? Now, when I was working with Alexander Neumeister, he had handpicked me, and Natkani sir had seen my work, and it's fantastic to see. Like since 1976 or 78, he has been designing trains. Okay, so Transrapid designed by him, ICT, metros, and stuff like that. So I worked with him. He used to tell me like Chandru, if you Chandru is the one. So he used to say you have to understand this. You have to understand smithy or metal, because trains are being made in metal. So anything you need to work in a metal workshop is to say to understand how trains are getting made now to that level. So I still feel if you have to
Beautiful.
make something, you better be in that person's shoes. Uh, so that's why in 2000 we set up our own prototyping studio also. So today also, if I want to make something, I can go down to the workshop and make and see. So this is what we also want designers. They do it. The way computer is your tool, your sketching is a tool, workshop. So you can start from anywhere. So you spend time to get form or whatever you're making. You should be able to craft it out and see okay, what actually is doing. Because just saying that it's very emotive doesn't work. It has to work. So you have to see quality of light falling on that, how the surfaces move, how the parting lines happen, and are you really and getting the scale is very important. So anything what we do here is 1:1 scale. So we also get to to a high level of realism in terms of what we present. So and that is what I practice. I still sketch. I still sharpen my own pencils and I love to uh, spend time exploring. So I have not because I've seen you have to be you have to practice.
Yeah.
I
Beautiful.
want them and I want them. So I always remember this. Alex Money mentioned to me, and I used to spend time with them in the
Correct.
workshop where I used to see how the nose of the train is getting made. It's complex because aerodynamics, like you're not going to use the same process as what you use for aircrafts. But how do you get the aerodynamics right in that tunnel? So, yeah.
In fact, I'm so skeptical right now or not skeptical, but hesitant to say, but I'm going to say a lot of people have given me feedback about using Pula Deshpande references multiple times. But since you are from Pune and he's one of my look up to person,
Mm.
त्यांच्या एका I think बिगरी ते कुठल्या तरी एका एका पीस मध्ये आहे असं की पहिले मशीन पूस सो इट्स ऍक्च्युली लाईक यू हॅव टू बी ऑन द ग्राउंड राईट
Yeah, I mean, so engineering करताना तर तू मेकॅनिकल इंजिनिअरिंग करतोय तू जर इंजिनियर्स नसेल उघडलं कसं करणार आहे लाईक दॅट
करेक्ट
आणि
करेक्ट
यू हॅव टू डटी युअर हँड्स सो
या या
आणि ह्याची
या
मजा असते म्हणजे
येस
it's a complete joy of looking at how things work. So
correct. Cool. I want to conclude with one last question. So
yeah.
what's your what according to you is the future of industrial design in India? Like, uh,
Mm.
any glimpses that are promising, any downside which you're spotting, or I mean, what are your thoughts around it?
Hmm. मला असं
इंडियात
वाटतं
सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट बट इंडियात आता
yeah.
सगळंच ब्राईट आहे ऑलवेज सो
Hmm.
लाईक फ्रॉम देअर व्हॉट इज लाईक अ न्यूअन्स ऑब्झर्वेशन या
See, opportunity wise, there is no dirt of it. I mean, frankly speaking, if designers really want to, but don't, I feel that they should not rush on to making things happen fast in their lives on a daily basis. You will have to settle down a little bit more and see how you reap benefits of this effort, what you're going to put. So also not to have, they should be more wider, I think. So they should think as to what can design do to what design as a thinking, as a process, as a education. What can it do for you if not just designing some stationery or something like that? Because uh, the way I've seen people, the way they teach, even so, I know some people who have been in design background and they now teach in schools, and the way they look at them, they are like kids with them, and मजा असते त्यांच्यावर शिकवायची because they learn a lot of things like that. But also not limit yourself to saying that only these are the industries where I want to work. So that I expect, like okay, and frankly speaking, the opportunity कधीच अशी येत नाही. You will have to always look for areas where you can actually table your thoughts and say, okay, this is what I can do for you. Like just setting up a design ministry doesn't help. You will have to you'll have to work with the organizations, smaller, medium, and large, within the groups, within your own organization, wherever you're working, saying that okay, this is what actually it can do, and it's not still like it's not just the whole thing about like it's associated with beauty or anything like that. It's not like that. It's got a broader role to. It's health. Actually, if you look at it, every aspect of design actually plays important role in health of a company and the wealth of a person, or a wealth of a person and the health of a company. So you do better products, your faith on a product improve. You do a better service. If you're a experience, if you're able to walk into a store and it gives you a lovely experience, you know that you actually become there is a comfort of a certain kind. That's why you want to go to that coffee shop or that store, because it's just, by the way, I was just around, so I wanted to go and see a few things like that. So it's a relationship building kind of a thing, and that matters. थोडा मोठा अजून विचार करण्याची क्षमता असायला पाहिजे असं वाटतं.
Cool. I think on that inspiring note and going broad, I think we can conclude this episode. Thanks a lot for giving your time. It was just wonderful talking to you.
Thank you so much for that.
So that's it from today's GAN session. Thanks for listening till the end. I wish to thanks once again Godrej Design Lab for bringing you this episode. GDL is an initiative of Godrej and Boyce. Launched 2014, today GDL continues with the intention of making life brighter and better through exploring how design impacts our lives and how can it make it better. The team at GDL is focused on engaging the community through thought-provoking events, supporting upcoming talents, and showcasing how design innovation can create better products and systems. So do follow us on Instagram at Godrej Design Lab and AudioGAN Podcast. Thanks, bye, and take care. And that's it from today's GAN session. For show notes and more GAN, visit audiogan.com. And if you wish to connect with me, I am at AudioGAN Moments on Instagram. Until then, take care.